So you have already heard about Charlie Tree, John Wong, and Johnny Chung, businessmen and Clinton supporters whose shady fundraising and connections to the Chinese government landed them in prison following the 1996 presidential campaign. But the campaign finance scandal of a decade ago wasn't just about money being funneled through straw men and offshore accounts into the Clinton coffers. There was much more to it than that. Questions were also raised about the frequent visitors to the White House, many of whom gave significant amounts of money to the campaign. Between 1993 and 1996, more than 900 individuals stayed overnight in the White House, more than 800 of them in the Lincoln bedroom. The approval for all of these sleepovers came from President Clinton himself. The handwritten note on the top of the memo indicated the president personally signed off on political supporters staying the night, many of them later giving money to the campaign. The memo was addressed to Terry McAuliffe, then a fundraiser for the 1996 Clinton campaign, later chairman of the Democratic National Committee and now chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Although the alleged selling of the Lincoln bedroom never led to any charges being filed, it did open the door to other scandals. On March 27, 1996, Ray Irani, the chairman of Occidental Petroleum, spent the night in the White House. 2 days later, his company's Political Action Committee donated $100,000 to the Democratic National Committee. The company had long and well-established ties to then Vice President Al Gore. The story was just one of many fundraising stories involving the vice president that would be investigated. The most famous of these is the Buddhist temple fundraiser of April 1996. The event was set up by DNC fundraiser John Wong, who we already told you about. The Democratic National Committee raised $65,000 from the event, but two of the nuns from the temple later testified to the United States Senate that they had reimbursed guests for their donations. For his part, Gore denied that the event was even a fundraiser, instead calling it a community outreach. Gore was also investigated by the FBI concerning fundraising phone calls that he made from his White House office. The bill for those phone calls was passed on to taxpayers, and the Department of Justice investigated whether or not hard money had been raised by the vice president in violation of campaign finance law. The FBI also investigated a 1995 fundraising meeting at the White House involving the vice president. Gore initially denied that the meeting was about fundraising, but when confronted with documents that seemed to contradict him, Gore invoked the now famous, quote, iced tea defense. The vice president claimed he had consumed so much iced tea that he was in the restroom when the fundraising was discussed.